A century ago, the landscape of childbirth in Finland looked remarkably different from today. In 1925, an astonishing 95% of all childbirths occurred within the confines of a room devoid of modern amenities. No chimney, no windows, and with every surface coated in soot. This room, often called a Savusauna or smoke sauna, may seem uninviting, yet it offered a surprisingly sterile environment for delivering children. The walls of these saunas were blackened with soot, and the air carried a distinct smell of smoke. Yet it was the most hygienic setting available at the time. For 8 hours, a fire would burn, heating the stones within to extreme temperatures, and maintaining that heat for a further 12 hours. The smoke produced contained phenolic compounds, the same class of chemicals found in hospital-grade antiseptics, which contributed to the sauna's ability to sanitize its environment. Subscribe and comment for more medieval videos. This narrative dives into the inner workings of the Savusauna, examining its remarkable heat retention capabilities, the science behind the smoke, and the modern validation of this ancient tradition that nearly faded away. Understanding the Savusauna. A Savusauna, typically a small log building comparable in size to a modern garden shed, has thick walls, a low ceiling, one door, and minimal windows, often just a tiny shutter. In one corner rests a massive stone stove known as a kias, a pile of large, heavy field stones stacked atop a firebox, sometimes weighing over a ton. What sets the Savusauna apart from modern saunas is its unique design. There is no chimney or vent stack, meaning the smoke produced during heating has nowhere to escape. The process begins early in the morning when birch or alder logs are ignited inside the kias. Smoke pours out, filling the room with a thick haze. Interestingly, below the smoke line, around waist height, the air remains relatively clear. The fire is fueled by fresh air coming in through the open door, allowing for a steady supply of oxygen while the smoke drifts out. Over the following 6 to 8 hours, the fire heats the stones to extreme temperatures, while the wooden walls and floor absorb that heat, transforming every surface into a thermal battery. Once the stones are sufficiently heated, the fire is allowed to die down, with the coals and ashes swept out. The next step is a ritual known as hakalolu, where water is poured onto the hot stones. This action releases steam, which effectively cleans the air, blowing away soot particles and allowing the benches to be wiped down. Inside the Savusauna, temperatures typically range between 70 and 90 degrees Celsius, 158 and 194 degrees Fahrenheit. A properly heated sauna can retain this warmth for an impressive 12 hours. What makes the Savusauna fundamentally different from contemporary electric saunas is how they generate heat. Modern electric saunas heat the air, running continuously, which means they cool down quickly once turned off. In contrast, the Savusauna heats the mass itself, the stones, walls, and floor, allowing them to store energy akin to a brick oven. This method produces radiant heat rather than convective heat, warming the body directly rather than bombarding it with hot air. Sauna enthusiasts across Finland and Estonia describe the steam, known as lowly, as softer, deeper, and more comfortable than what modern saunas can produce. The first written description of a Finnish sauna dates back to 1112 AD. However, archaeological evidence suggests that the earliest forms were simple pits dug into the ground and covered with animal skins, dating back thousands of years. The Savusauna, as a dedicated log structure, began to take shape around 1000 CE and remained the standard form across Finland and the Baltic states until the 1930s. For over 9 centuries, the smoke sauna was synonymous with sauna culture in these regions. In a traditional Finnish or Estonian farmstead, the Savusauna was the most significant building on the property. When families moved to a new homestead, the sauna was the first structure they constructed. This space served multiple functions. It was where they lived, cooked, and even slept while the main house was being built. Even during wartime, the sauna held paramount importance. A military field manual from World War II stated that a battalion could construct saunas, warm them, and bathe within just 8 hours. On peacekeeping missions, a sauna was among the first structures erected. The reason for this prioritization was simple. The sauna was the cleanest room on the farm. At first glance, the idea of a room filled with smoke for 8 hours and coated in black soot might seem counterintuitive in terms of hygiene. However, the smoke acted as a disinfectant, not a contaminant. Wood smoke contains compounds known as phenols, which are also used in hospital-grade antiseptics. When birchwood burns at low temperatures, the lignin breaks down and releases phenolic compounds like guaiacol, syringol, and cresol. These compounds settle onto every surface, penetrating the wood grain of the walls and benches. Together, they form a protective antimicrobial layer that kills bacteria, inhibits mold growth, and prevents decay. This same chemistry extends the shelf life of smoked meats, illustrating how the Savusauna utilized these properties to create a sterile environment. Historical records from the Swedish Finn Historical Society confirm that the smoke from the Savusauna contained tannic acid, which further contributed to its sterilizing effects. This is why saunas often served as infirmaries, where barbers and village healers performed bloodletting, cupping, and minor surgical procedures. For centuries, Finnish women also gave birth in saunas, not out of convenience, but necessity. A century ago, nearly all childbirths in Finland took place in these saunas, primarily because they provided the warmest, cleanest, and most sterile environment available. The heat relaxed the mother's body, while the antimicrobial surfaces significantly reduced the risk of infection. Today, there are still thousands of Finns alive who were born in saunas. An old Finnish proverb captures this sentiment perfectly. If liquor or the sauna cannot help, the disease is fatal. The Savisauna's utility extended far beyond just hygiene and childbirth. In Estonia's Virumar region, families utilized the sauna to smoke meat, preserving pork, fish, and sausage, using the same phenolic compounds that sterilized the walls. The sauna also played a role in various agricultural processes. It was used to dry grain, malt barley for brewing beer, strengthen textiles, pre-shrink wool and cloth, and dry fishing nets. This meant that one building served multiple critical functions that modern homes now require separate appliances and rooms to perform. Interestingly, the smoke also acted as a preservative for the building itself. The soot layer covering every interior surface functioned as a natural wood preservative, sealing the grain, repelling insects, and preventing rot. A Savusauna that saw regular use for 50 years would be structurally stronger than when it was initially built, as the building improved with age. In contrast, modern saunas tend to degrade due to moisture and heat within a decade, requiring chemical treatments for maintenance. The spiritual dimension. In Finnish tradition, each sauna was believed to have its own guardian spirit, known as sauna tonu. Behavior within the sauna was expected to be calm, quiet, and respectful. A Swedish economist, writing in 1776, expressed astonishment at how the Finns treated the sauna as a kind of shrine. This enforced calm created a social technology that allowed for mandatory periods of silence, rest, and physical recovery, in a culture where individuals often worked 12-hour days under harsh conditions. The sauna became a sanctuary, a space removed from the stresses of daily life. To understand why the Savusauna worked so effectively as a health tool, one must grasp the principle of hormesis. Hormesis refers to the biological response wherein a small amount of stress makes an organism stronger. For instance, lifting weights stimulates muscle growth, and moderate sun exposure triggers vitamin D production. In the context of saunas, exposing the body to controlled heat initiates remarkable cellular responses. When core body temperature rises by even a couple of degrees, cells begin producing heat shock proteins. These proteins act as emergency repair crews, refolding damaged proteins, cleaning up cellular waste, and protecting DNA. Simultaneously, heart rates increase to between 100 and 150 beats per minute. Blood vessels dilate, enhancing blood flow to the skin, causing the body to respond as if engaging in moderate cardiovascular exercise while sitting still on a wooden bench. While this process occurs in any sauna, the design of the Savusauna amplifies its effects. Because heat emanates from the radiant stone mass rather than hot air, it penetrates deeper into the body. The lower air temperatures, between 70 to 90 degrees Celsius, 158 to 194 degrees Fahrenheit, allow users to remain inside for extended periods without discomfort, resulting in a deeper and more sustained hormetic response. In 2015, researchers at the University of Eastern Finland published a landmark study in JAMA Internal Medicine, led by Dr. Jari Laukkanen. This study tracked 2,315 middle-aged Finnish men for over 20 years as part of the Kuopio Ischemic Heart Disease Risk Factor Study. The results were striking. Men who used the sauna 4 to 7 times a week had a 63% lower risk of sudden cardiac death compared to those who used it only once a week. Additionally, fatal cardiovascular disease rates dropped by 50% and all-cause mortality decreased by 40%. The duration of sauna sessions also mattered. Sessions lasting more than 19 minutes reduced the risk of sudden cardiac death by 52% compared to those lasting under 11 minutes. This evidence represents some of the strongest protective associations ever recorded for a passive lifestyle activity. Dr. Ståle Nuttila, a cardiologist at the University of Manitoba, confirmed that the evidence is robust and consistent, noting that even researchers were surprised by the magnitude of the effects. A follow-up study published in BMC Medicine in 2018 extended these findings, tracking 1,688 participants, over half of whom were women, for 15 years. The pattern held across both sexes. More frequent sauna use correlated with lower cardiovascular mortality. Subsequent studies from the same research group identified reduced risks of stroke dementia, Alzheimer's disease, and hypertension, all associated with regular sauna use. Christopher Minson, a human physiologist at the University of Oregon, summarized the evidence by stating that repeated exposure to heat is beneficial for humans, and that our ability to adapt to heat has been a significant factor in human evolution, more so than our ability to adapt to cold. Heat stress is only part of the story. The Savusauna also functioned as an air purification system. When water is thrown onto stones heated above 500 degrees Celsius, 932 degrees Fahrenheit, it vaporizes into an extremely fine mist that carries negative ions, binding to airborne particles and cleaning the air in a way that modern humidifiers cannot replicate. Given its effectiveness, one might wonder why the Savusauna fell out of favor. 3 primary forces contributed to its decline. 1. Time constraints. Heating a Savusauna takes 6 to 8 hours. Starting with a morning fire, the sauna must be tended throughout the afternoon before it is ready by evening. The introduction of chimney saunas in the 18th century, which utilized wood-burning stoves with metal chimneys, cut this time in half. Subsequently, the continuous burn stove of the 1930s reduced heating time to just 30 minutes. Finally, the electric sauna, introduced by Moss Limited in Vasa, Finland in 1938, made starting a sauna as easy as flipping a switch. 2. Fire safety. The Savusauna is a room filled with open flames, hot coals, and soot-covered wood, elements that can ignite at high temperatures. As urban areas became denser and building codes tightened, chimneyless saunas faced increasing difficulty in obtaining permits, pushing them out of cities and into rural areas, summer cottages, and the fringes of society. As Finland modernized, the Savusauna became associated with the old Finland, characterized by poverty, rural hardship, and manual labor. The new Finland embraced electric lights, central heating, and clean modern spaces, leaving behind the image of a dark, soot-covered room heated by an open fire. Choosing to maintain the old ways signaled an inability to afford the new ones. During the 1950s and 1960s, as Finland experienced rapid economic growth, most remaining Savusauna were abandoned, converted to chimney saunas, or simply torn down, leading to the near extinction of this tradition. The narrative does not end with decline. By the 1930s, the Savusauna was fading fast in Finland, with chimney saunas and electric heaters taking its place. In North America, where Finnish immigrants had introduced the tradition as early as 1638, the smoke sauna nearly vanished. Most had burned down, been retrofitted with wood stoves, or were left as historical curiosities. However, a significant shift began in Estonia. Ada and Urmas Varoja at Musa Farm in Voromar dedicated years to documenting and practicing the smoke sauna traditions of their community. Their work garnered attention from UNESCO, the New York Times Magazine, Boston Globe Magazine, and BBC Travel. In 2014, the Voro smoke sauna tradition was inscribed on UNESCO's Intangible Cultural Heritage List, and in 2020, Finnish sauna culture as a whole received the same recognition. Raina Kuba, director of the Voro Institute, noted that this recognition enhances the visibility of the community's culture and maintains the viability of the tradition. In Finland, architect and author Risto Voiala has published 6 books on the Savusauna, blending engineering precision with cultural appreciation. His efforts have sparked a revival, increasing the estimated number of Savusaunas in Finland to 25,000, with new ones being built each year. The Finnish Sauna Society, founded in 1937, continues to promote traditional methods alongside this growth. In 2023, Estonian filmmaker Anna Hintz won the Directing Award at the Sundance Film Festival for Smoke Sauna Sisterhood, a documentary filmed entirely inside a traditional smoke sauna. The film went on to win the European Documentary of the Year from the European Film Academy and was submitted as Estonia's Academy Award nomination. For the first time, millions of people worldwide glimpsed the interior of a Savusauna. Modern science is catching up with the wisdom preserved through centuries of practice. The Kuopio Ischemic Heart Disease Risk Factor Study, the largest and longest-running sauna health study in history, continues to produce data linking regular heat exposure to reduced cardiovascular disease, stroke, dementia, and overall mortality. The evidence is no longer anecdotal. It grows more substantial each year. Building a Savusauna today is straightforward in rural areas with permissive building codes, as the materials required are simply logs, fieldstones, sand, and clay, none of which necessitate electricity or imported components. In Estonia, the Voro Institute actively teaches traditional construction techniques, while Finland has published detailed guides for those interested in building their own. For individuals in urban environments, a traditional wood-fired sauna with a proper stone queue offers the closest practical equivalent. While it heats more slowly than electric models, it replicates the Savusauna experience far more accurately than any infrared panel or gym sauna. The deeper lesson from the Savusauna revolves around the principle of thermal mass. A pile of fieldstones heated for 8 hours stores an enormous amount of energy, radiating slowly, evenly, and deeply. Modern sauna builders who grasp this principle are now designing wood-fired stoves with larger stone loads, longer heating times, and thicker log walls. They are rediscovering the importance of heat quality, realizing that it matters just as much as the temperature displayed on a thermometer. The Savusauna has taught us valuable lessons over a millennium, lessons that we are only beginning to document scientifically. As society continues to advance, the revival of the Savusauna represents a bridge between tradition and modernity, showcasing the wisdom of ancestral practices that resonate with contemporary health and wellness. In summary, the Savusauna is more than just a building. It encapsulates a rich cultural heritage, a profound understanding of health, and a testament to human ingenuity. As modern science continues to validate the benefits of heat exposure and the antimicrobial properties of smoke, the Savusauna stands as a symbol of resilience, tradition, and the potential for renewal in our ever-changing world. Embracing this ancient practice offers not only a connection to the past, but also a pathway to better health and well-being. The Savusauna is a reminder that sometimes the old ways are indeed the best ways.